You were listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Happy New Year. I'm an unoriginal bastard, but I'm saying it. Happy New Year. Everybody says Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Ryan.
Happy New Year, Michael. I mean, what else are you going to say?
I guess what are you going to do? We're back. We're back, which means thanks to you guys and the support that you've given us. If you're here for Tom Ellis, stick around. And I hope you don't fast forward stuff and you enjoy the interview and you follow us. And subscribe. Our socials are Ryan
At Inside of You Pod on Twitter.
Yes.
At Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
That's true. And if you want to support the podcast more, there's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you to support the podcast like all these patrons have done, Ryan. Without them, without patrons, my lovable patrons who get their names shouted out at the end of every episode and get a lot of perks and prizes and things and love and notes. Without them, I wouldn't be here. And this is really, I really appreciate you guys. So happy New Year. A lot has happened. You went off to Hawaii.
Yep, that's where I had my holidays.
You had your holidays, which were a mix of probably fun, stress, and...
but at the end of the day, it's Hawaii. I got to go in the ocean on New Year's Day.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Great.
Why not?
You were in the desert.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was. I had back surgery during the holidays on the 18th, I believe, of December. And it's been rough. And, my surgeon thinks everything's fine. So I'm not worried. But, you saw how swollen I am. Mm-hmm. And it's like I have a tail back there or something. It is. It's pretty rough. So I'm just trying to go with the flow. And waking up is not easy. Then I start to feel better. Mm-hmm. And I go in stages. But anyway, I'm just glad I can walk. And hopefully things will continue to ameliorate. Become better.
Word of the year.
Word of the year, folks. Ameliorate.
Already doing it.
Ameliorate. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. I really do. And thanks for making this podcast your podcast or one of your podcasts that you listen to. It means the world to me. We've got great guests. If you didn't get to hear the Keanu Reeves Dog Star episode, or we've had so many great ones. Jennifer Love Hewitt. We've got Tom Ellis today from Lucifer, who was just wonderful. Had him in the house, and it was fun. He's a tall guy. Didn't realize he was that tall. Oh, Tommy Ellis. Tommy, you're tall, buddy. But thank you. Thank you so much for everything. And want to give a little reminder. Kristen Ritter is going to be live with me, live podcast at the Regent Theater, downtown Los Angeles, December. And I believe that's January 24th. January 24th, Kristen Ritter and me live. There's VIP tickets available. Go to my link tree in my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum. Get tickets. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to get one of those t-shirt guns where you shoot t-shirts out to people like last time. It almost hurt someone.
It's a dangerous thing.
It is, but I'm very careful.
As much fun as it is.
Mm-hmm. I'm careful.
Yeah, you wore goggles.
I wore goggles. I was careful.
So you were safe.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say much for everyone in the front row, but yeah, you were safe.
But have a cocktail. Yeah. Watch a live podcast. There's Q&A. There's a VIP meet and greet before the show. And get tickets now on my link tree at the Michael Rosenbaum on Instagram. And by the way, there's tons of cool merch on the Inside of You online store. And I know this is probably a little longer of an intro, but it's the beginning of the year, so you can listen to it. Sending a lot of patron boxes today, by the way. So I'm going to write a lot of notes to people, of thank you notes, because that's what the top tiers get. They get a box from me with goodies every couple of months, Ryan.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right. They also get a bonus episode, which we put on Patreon, which you and I are going to do after this.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So that's it, really. That's all I have. The Inside of You online store. Great merch. Smallville stuff. Scripts. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of special guests coming up. We got Katie Sackhoff. We got, you know who we got? Edward Furlong.
Yes.
Boy, did he open up, man.
Oh, man.
I loved Eddie. Eddie Furlong. He was really good. We have a lot of great guests coming up. I can't even tell you how many awesome guests are coming. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year for you. I know it. So just try to do, treat yourself right. Be good to yourself and try to be healthier and happier and be good to yourself. All that stuff, Ryan, right? Let's just try.
I'm stifling a burp, but yes, let's do it.
Stifle the burp, man. Stifle or let it out. There you go. Let it go. That's it, man. Let's get into it. Lots to talk about with Tom Ellis. Let's get inside of Tom Ellis.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
So the coffee's good. I made you some coffee.
Yes, thank you very much. In a Cheech and Chong mug as well, which is
you're
a pro.
You're Welsh. Well, you're born in Wales.
I was born in Wales, and I am, when it comes to rugby, Welsh. And I say that I'm Welsh, but I moved from Cardiff into England when I was like 2 years old. Because my dad was a pastor, so we moved around a fair amount when I was a kid.
Yeah, what's that about? Like I read that your sister, your uncle, your dad are all Baptist ministers.
That's correct, yeah.
Are they still?
My dad is retired, my uncle is retired now, and my sister is no longer doing that, but she still attends the same church that she was a pastor at, but they had to make some changes during COVID.
Is that pretty religious, Baptist minister? Is that like, I feel like, look, I'm not very religious at all. Mm-hmm. So I believe in God, but I don't know what's the most religious or where on that spectrum is
the extremeness of it.
Yeah, are they?
I think Baptist in the States means something very different. When people think about Baptist, they think about the Southern Baptist movement, which is
right,
evangelical, kind of like falling on the floor and having big loud songs,
praise Jesus, throw people in,
all of that stuff, and that isn't what the Baptist church in the UK was like. The Baptist church in the UK was much more like a conservative. My Sunday morning would be going. Most people would be dressed in suits. That would be sing hymns to an organ, and we got a bit progressive during my time there. And
really,
my mum started a music group where we played. We had electric guitars. I played the drums. My mum was a pianist and a flute player.
Is your mom with us?
Yes,
she is with you.
Yes,
okay.
yeah,
that's good.
She is.
That'd be very awkward if she wasn't.
Yeah, no, but basically, yeah, it was not the kind of connotation of Baptist that we know over in the States. It very much sort of, for want of a better word, it was quite boring.
Was it?
Yeah.
Were you able? Did they tolerate cursing?
Not particularly. There was not a lot of cursing in my house when I was growing up.
No, nothing. You couldn't even say "damn," could you?
I mean, I could say stuff like that, but I certainly wouldn't say. If I said "Oh my God," that would get frowned upon. I think that changed. I think my parents sort of evolved as well as we got older.
Yeah.
But I think to start with, and certainly, thinking about my dad's parents, his mum in particular, they were very strict in terms of like what you could and couldn't say and how you should be as a person. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't even say she in regards to my mother, in reference to my mother. If I go, well, she said, we don't refer to your mother as she. I'm like, well, her, no, we don't use
we used to say
pronouns.
A phrase in our house where if you said she, my mum would go, who's she? The cat's mother? It was like this weird little thing that she would say. But anyway.
So were you guys, was there a lot of discipline? Were you like, was it more a liberal, like, there wasn't spanking? Because I was spanked as a kid.
Yeah, no, we didn't ever have that at all.
In fact, rulers on the knuckles?
None of that. No.
Wow.
I mean, I felt like my parents were strict to a certain point. But again, as I've got a twin sister and we've got an older sister who's a couple of years older than me. And then my younger sister is a couple of years younger than me and my twin. And I think as we sort of like hit our teenage years, one thing my parents did do is they encouraged us to be independent.
Right.
And through that independence, we started mixing with other people, not in the circles that my parents would mix in. And I think through that process, they kind of like slackened the reins, as it were. And they evolved with us. So I would go out drinking when I was like 15, 16.
And that was okay?
I'd go to the pub. I mean, it's not like they condoned it, but they also didn't stop me from doing it. I had friends that would get grounded. You know that phrase?
Is that the term
here?
you used, grounded?
You're grounded. You're grounded for 2 weeks, and it's we never had any of that at all. It was. I think that they just installed in us a trust that we would do the right thing in any situation we'd be in.
Yeah, you seem like I heard this from of course I text Tom Welling,
Mm-hmm.
and I
what did he
text
say?
Amy Garcia, and I mean it was just honestly I was like, Tom, come on, this guy's that nice. It's like I hope if someone asked about me, you'd be like, he's great, he's giving, he's got a big heart, but he could be a little bit of a dick sometimes. I mean, we could all be dicks, but nothing. Like Amy said something like, he would breeze through scenes like a dance. I mean, she's very poetic. Great singer and dancer, total showman, contagious laugh, never broke character. I'm the opposite. That's all I kept thinking.
Oh, really?
Is like, yeah, well, I always would goof around and stuff. And when they'd say action, I'm very into it. But I would break and stuff like that. And she said, even though he was in every scene doing stunts, rehearsing songs, emotional scenes, he always made time to dance with me in between takes. Is that true? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. And not that I made time for her. It's that Amy, if anyone knows Amy,
I do.
They know that she's a little bit like a little kid that's like pulling on your sleeve, going, yeah, let's do something. And that was kind of like her energy, in between scenes. And I found a way to kind of I guess amuse that or kind of indulge that, which was to learn dances with her for no specific reason. There was no kind of end of show, we're going to do a show and tell of the dance moves we're doing. We just would learn some choreography for the sake of it. We did have to do it for the show at one point, and that was we felt like two competition winners. It was brilliant.
So you're a dancer.
I mean, I was never formally trained in dancing, but we did a bit of it at drama school, and it's always something that I have enjoyed, I guess. I mean, I guess I've got rhythm because I was a drummer and a musician.
Was it natural to you? Did you pick it up pretty quickly?
It's pretty natural to me, yeah.
Because when you start at a young age, it's a lot easier, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But I'm not it's not like I'm fully disciplined in dance, but I can pick it up. If I was to do one of those shows where they teach you to dance for a few weeks,
you could do it.
I probably
like
could
Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, except
you would never do that.
No, I was approached quite heavily in the UK to do their version of it.
We'll give you lots of money, which they don't.
No, they don't give you lots of money, and it's just no. I would love to do it if there was no TV cameras there. I would love to have that one-on-one training and that kind of learn that discipline. That would be amazing.
Because would you say you're a bit of an introvert or a shy person with you could be fun and all these things, but are you sort of a private person?
I've gotten more private as I've gotten older. I think that I'm an extrovert because I get energized from other people. My wife and my mum think that I am an extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've certainly changed as I've gotten older. Being in the public eye as well, the more you're in the public eye, the less you want to give.
Yeah.
Because you just feel like everyone just wants a piece of you, and things like social media and stuff, you're constantly putting yourself out there. And with kids and other things in my life, I'm like, I don't want to be so transparent anymore. I do miss the days.
Right.
I remember growing up and going to drama school and stuff, and people used to talk about the most wonderful gift for an actor was to have anonymity, because then people can buy into any character that you're playing. And these days it seems to have been a seismic shift the other way, where it's like you're doing, you're in a show or you're doing a film, and they want you to be on social media all the time, push, but not in the character in the film, but as you. And
you feel like you're giving that away.
I feel like, you're giving away your tricks, basically. You're giving away your energy. The thing that you bring to a character is unique to what you have inside of you. And the more you give of yourself, I feel like the less people can make that differentiation.
Right.
But for example, people have a hard time if I play an American character. Not because my dialect's bad, I think, but mainly because they think, oh, it's weird because you're British and we're used to you talking this certain way, and I just can't do that thing. And it's for me, that's a frustrating kind of reaction. Yeah. Because it's but I'm an actor. So my job is to embody whoever it is I'm playing and for you to believe that.
Yeah, because in the old days, I mean, I'm talking early 2000s, before cell phones. If they saw an English actor playing a role, they don't know if he's English. They don't know if he's American. They don't. So there's a mystery of it all. Yeah. But with social media, it's kind of it's erased that mystery. Mm-hmm. And I mean, all my cards are out on the table. I mean, Jesus, man. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, it's Rosenbaum. And oh, he's doing an English accent. Not very good, brother. You know, so yeah, I can understand that. This episode is sponsored by Betterhelp. Guys, Betterhelp has been my sponsor for quite some time. And it's a real great fit because, you know, we talk about mental health constantly on this podcast. And I think it's so important to talk to someone. If I could only get some of my family members to talk to Betterhelp. I'm working on it. I'm really working on it. Look, around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we're already doing right. Maybe you finally organized one part of your space and you want to tackle another, or maybe you're taking your supplements every morning and now you want to actually eat breakfast too. Whatever your goals for the new year, therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. That's key because every year I write my New Year's resolution out, and some of them are just, I'm putting so much pressure on myself to accomplish these things. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do this, you have to do this. But I like talking to someone and talking through things so you can get an objective point of view from a professional about what they think and what they see. And they have a lot of insight to help you. If you're thinking of starting therapy, I want you to give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Even if you've added some new routines in your life, just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional cost. So if you don't like your therapist, which happens, there's no complications. You just change your therapist like that. Why wait for a new year when you can celebrate you and the changes you've already made right now? Therapy from BetterHelp can get you there and help you, love the journey, love this new year. Visit betterhelp.com/inside today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com. Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. Rocket Money, I don't know why everyone, Ryan, doesn't have this app. This is absolutely something. You want to save money? You just get this app. That's it. You're gonna save money. I've already saved hundreds of dollars on Rocket Money. Look, I'll make it simple. Did you find any subscriptions, Ryan, that you forgot about, or any you paid for twice and didn't realize it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you want to watch a show and you get that streamer, but then you don't.
And then sometimes you open up an app and you're like, oh, I'm already paying for this. Uh-oh. How many others am I paying for?
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills. I can see all of my subscriptions in one place, and if I see something I don't want, I cancel it with a tap. I never have to get on the phone with customer service again. You guys ever feel like money is just flying out of your account and you have no idea where it's going? Well, I do. I know. It's all those subscriptions. Think about it. Between streaming services, fitness apps, delivery services, parenting apps, it's endless. We're all guilty of this. So I used Rocket Money to help me find out what subscriptions I'm actually spending money on. It was eye-opening. And I had them cancel the ones I didn't want anymore. And I feel so much better about that because it feels like everyone's out to get you. And it feels like Rocket Money is out to help you. And it's very, very simple with Rocket Money.
They'll even try to get you a refund for the last couple months of wasted money and negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill and Rocket Money takes care of the rest.
It's pretty darn simple. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year, with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions.
Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/inside.
Listen to Ryan. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside. And a lot of people will say that the what's the word, like, the old school actors, the old the Harrison Fords, the real movie stars.
The stars.
There aren't many around anymore.
No.
Do you agree with that?
I do actually, to a certain extent. And the weird thing is that the movie stars, don't tend to have an awful lot of range within their performances, apart from a select few that would be known as character actors.
Right.
But like people like Tom Cruise, who I think is still one of the few movie stars out there now, Brad Pitt, they're very similar. When you can see Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt, you kind of know what you're going to get, but you don't care because they're a fucking star.
Right.
And then you get the kind of tear down from that. And that used to be that you could play whatever role was given to you. But now it seems like people, if they know too much about you, they have a real hard time buying into that range.
Yeah, I guess that could be a little upsetting. Do you do a lot of dialects? Like a lot of, because you're, born in Wales, moved to Cardiff. What are the ones that you have, if you could jump into for a role at any time, you think?
The UK is quite an interesting place. Such a small place. There's so many different dialects. And you're talking about like moving 20 miles up the road and the dialect has changed.
Crazy.
And so, growing up in that sort of melting pot, it was a skill, I guess, that I had. And I realized when I got to drama school, not everyone had that same skill. And I think it's like a musical ear or something.
Good ear, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, a dialect work is something I've always done, When I did my first kind of like big role out here, I was American in it.
Were you nervous about it at all?
I was to a certain extent, but I was also in a sort of, being an actor is a bit like sport. It's a confidence-based industry.
Yeah.
And so I had just literally finished doing a play in London where it was an American play, and it was part of this American family in the play. And we had an American director, an American dialect coach. And so I very much felt confident about being American at that moment in time. And so when this audition came up, I had to make a tape for it. I didn't have those qualms. I didn't have those self-doubt things.
Right.
I just kind of went for it. And then subsequently got the role and then made a decision that the younger me would have gone, oh my God, you've turned into one of those actors. But actually, I appreciate now why I did it. When we were shooting, I get picked up in the morning and dropped off at night. And from the moment I got picked up to the moment I got dropped off, I would stay in dialect. I'd still be Tom.
Method.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I wouldn't be the character, but I kept the American dialect up because it was easier for me to do that, to then not think, to then not be judging myself. Like I sort of was a bit like, oh, you're a bit of a dick for a few days for doing this. But actually, it worked for me. It worked on my behalf, and it made the job easier for me in that regard.
Right. Where am I from right now? When you're dealing with an industry like this, you have to have a great ego. And Francis Ford Coppola has an ego the size of San Francisco.
So you are from America doing an English dialect.
Wait, let me do it better. When you're dealing with an industry like this, you have to have a great ego. Is that better at all?
That is actually, and your dialect there is kind of like London, around the London area.
You're
sort of
right.
home
See,
counties,
that's Gary Oldman in an interview once.
Yeah.
I don't try to do the English accent. The British.
That's good though.
If I could just stay there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll use that as your starting point because I feel like a lot of American actors that I've worked with, when they try and do a British accent, they fail miserably.
Why?
That's the thing I can't understand.
Because you know what it is? Maybe they're trying to do a different voice and not their own.
I think that's what it is.
Because if I'm like talking like this, I should just talk like this, like I'm talking. But if I start going, everything is like this now, and I'm talking like that, I'm a different person.
It becomes like a caricature as opposed to that being that person. I always remember about that play that I was doing before I came over here. The American director at one point, about 2 weeks into rehearsals, it was like, guys, stop. Okay, y'all have to stop being British actors with American dialect, and you have to start being American. Wow. And we were like, whoa, what on earth does that mean? And he went on to explain that, it's not just about putting on a voice. It's about, certainly Americans compared to British, there's an attitude difference. There's a kind of like, there's an overall energy, the way you articulate and gesticulate and stuff. It's not just about doing a voice.
What's a word or something that if you ever watch your performance, you go, I heard something in there.
Oh, let me think about that.
I heard a little English.
There's a few ones. One is the "een" is in. So like I've been here. Americans, I've been here.
I've been here.
But the bean and the bin is a big giveaway for me.
And you've done that before?
I've done that before and been picked up on it. I remember a voice coach picking me up on it. I was like, got to remember that one. Got to remember that one. Sure.
You like
sure.
Sure. You have to throw away.
Sure is a kind of thing, because you can also say sure.
Sure. Sure.
But sure and sure. Two ones that you can use, but you've got to be consistent with the one you're doing.
Right.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
But those are good ones.
Yeah.
Can you do an Irish accent pretty easily?
Yeah. Where from? Northern or Southern?
Northern.
So your man from Belfast there, he, I had a couple of mates from Belfast when I was at Glasgow, and it's all up in here and
Up in your loud?
yeah, up there, and your man over there, it's like really putting on things like that,
And Scotch more from the back of your throat.
Scots is back there. Glasgow's all back there, and the difference between like Glasgow on the west coast and Edinburgh on the east coast. Edinburgh's a wee bit more sing-songy. It's a wee bit more like floaty in the clouds and stuff like that, You can, eh? Whereas Glasgow's like fucking down here, and people talking to each other and just fucking saying you big wank.
You sheep stealing hooting bastard.
Exactly.
Who's your favorite actors growing up?
So there's probably two or three, right? I would say Ken Branagh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Wow.
He was someone that made Shakespeare make sense for me, which was a big deal when I was at school, because we had to do it as English literature as part of our, basic schooling in the UK. And I remember reading Romeo and Juliet when I was like 13, going, what on earth is everyone on about? I just didn't have a clue. And then I remember he did a movie of Much Ado About Nothing. And I watched it. It was him and Emma Thompson playing Benedict and Beatrice, and they were just...
So Kenneth Branagh. Do you say Branagh?
Branagh, yeah.
Branagh.
I
I used to say American. I was like, Kenneth Branagh is a really good actor.
Branagh.
Branagh's a really good... Do you pronounce the A-U-G-H? Branagh? Is it like Laura Branigan? Remember Laura Branigan, the singer?
No, who's that?
She sang Gloria.
Oh, yeah.
I think they got... That was Laura Branigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
So him, Branagh.
Ken Branagh for sure. I just his ease on screen, and I think that's the thing about actors that I like. You feel at ease in their company when you're watching them.
Have you worked with him?
I've never worked.
Have you
with
met
him? Never met him.
You'd love that.
I would love it. I would love it. I think he's wonderful, and again, a proper actor, incredible range. You see him play other parts. You see him play. He's just brilliant at everything he does. Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Big influence on me. I loved him, loved watching him, loved all his movies. And then as I sort of evolved and started to think about acting myself, there's a stage actor in the UK who's now done a lot of screen work called Mark Rylance, who was just unbelievable when you watch him on stage.
Mark Rylance.
Unbelievable. He's in, I think the most famous thing he's done over here was probably Bridge of Spies.
With Tom Hanks.
With Tom Hanks, yeah. And I know the writer of that movie actually, and we were chatting about it. I was like, "You were on set with Tom Hanks and Mark Rylance. What was it like?" He said, "I was literally pinching myself every day. Couldn't believe it." But I think certainly those three people, and then actresses wise, I think Emma Thompson I've always loved.
Brilliant.
Always loved her, and of course Dame Meryl Streep.
Oh.
Who's just...
Or Judi Dench.
Or Judi Dench. But I love Judi Dench.
But you like...
But I think Meryl Streep... I remember watching Kramer versus Kramer for the first time. And both of them in that movie were just
Dustin
electric.
Hoffman. Yeah, that was. Now, you say these are all your favorite actors, actresses. I think actors. You just say actors now, don't you? But would you be nervous working with them? And do you get nervous while you're working? Do you get the nerves? Are you so confident that you learn lines easy? Is the process or process, as the Canadians say? I mean, do you still get nerves? Do you still get nervous about stuff?
For sure. I mean, I think the biggest gift that happened in the last few years to me was doing the show Lucifer and being that character for like 6-7 years and going to that same set every time. And time on set was just like priceless.
It is.
And I think that, that certainly took my confidence to a different place. I didn't feel I think there's a lot of imposter syndrome that happens in acting.
I know.
And I used to feel that all the time, because you go from job to job to job to job, and every time you start a job, I think my biggest pressure that I would have on myself is I just want the other actors in this to think I'm a good actor.
Yeah.
And I think I still, I think every actor still probably has that.
Yeah.
But if you're going back to a place repeatedly, you lose that. And you just sort of, I don't want to use the word autopilot, but you go into a comfort zone where you know the character so well that you are not second guessing any choices. And you're just doing and being, which is the perfect state to act in.
Right. But the second you get another part that's different, it starts over again, doesn't it?
We had a weird experience actually on the penultimate season of Lucifer, because they asked me to play my twin brother in it as well. And so I was, trying to sort of make some differences between these characters with the small amount of time that I had to
Did you change your voice?
I did. Well, I gave him an American dialect. I changed his physicality slightly. And I remember like being on the set, and all these people I worked with for 5 years, and then I had to do this character for the first time. And that's when I felt like the imposter syndrome kicking in, because I was like,
you get the tingle.
People are not going to buy this. Lots of self-doubt. But thankfully, people that around me that I knew were not judging me specifically. And I just, you just have to go for it in those circumstances.
Yeah. Were you...
But I hadn't felt like that for a long time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I just think, in this household and growing up at the church and all these things, but again, progressive, and you were playing music and all that. Were your parents, surprised that you went into theater? Were they a little bit worried about it? Did you have their blessings? Mm-hmm. How did they feel? Was your dad hoping you'd get more into the church?
I think my dad probably realized very early on in my life that I was not going to follow in his footsteps.
Because you told him.
Yeah, basically.
I'm not doing this.
Because it used to be a question I was asked a lot by people. Oh, are you going to follow in your father's? Are you going to, be a man of the cloth and all those things? I was like, nah, it's not for me. But I didn't I stumbled across acting really at the end of my high schooling. I was really into sport, and I played lots of different sports.
Cricket?
I was into cricket, rugby, football.
Yeah. When you say football, you mean soccer?
I mean, yeah. I
soccer. Just want to clarify for the Americans out there.
Not the pigskin.
Right.
But I just, I knew that I wasn't good enough at the sports that I played to pursue them, but I still wanted to be involved in that kind of realm. And I decided that I was going to get into physiotherapy. And, if I can't get on the pitch as a player, I can get on the pitch to help a player sort of thing. And then I got to the end of my high schooling in the UK. The last 2 years in the UK is called sixth form, and you do what they call A-levels, which is like you choose 3 subjects that basically are sort of funneling your education towards what you want to do at university or tertiary education.
Most of the time that changes.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
So I took these 3 subjects, and one of them was history, because I'd really enjoyed it in my previous years at school. And about 2 or 3 weeks into it, I just was like, I'm not enjoying this at all. This is not the place I want to be at. So I dropped it, and then my sixth form tutors were like, well, you have to do a 3rd subject, so what are you going to do? And I really didn't know. And then my old English teacher, Claire, came...
Mr. Claire?
No, Miss Claire Pender.
Oh, Claire
Lovely
Pender.
Claire
Miss
Pender,
Claire
who's a
Pender.
big hero of my life. She came and found me in the sixth form common room, and she was like, Tom, I've heard you're looking for a new subject. I'm running the theatre studies class, and I've got 12 girls and 1 boy at the moment. I need boys. And I was like, whoa, how many girls? I'm in. And you're going on a bonding weekend away in a week's time. Brilliant. So I, for all the wrong reasons, thought, I'll have a go at that. And I started doing these theatre study classes, and all of a sudden it felt like a glove that fit me. And I just was really enjoying the classes. I wasn't particularly successful with any of the girls, but I had a great time working with them and all of that stuff. And I just really got into it. And then Claire Pender, again, they were doing a school play that year, and I'd never done a school play before. And she wanted to cast me in the lead role for it.
What role?
It was John the Witch Boy in a play called Dark of the Moon that was set in the Appalachian Mountains.
Wow, I'm guessing this was not a comedy.
No, it wasn't. And I played this witch boy John who fell in love with a girl called Barbara Allen. And from doing that, a friend of mine's mum, who used to be an actress, came to see the play, and she called me the day after she came to see it, and she said, "I saw you in the play last night. I really think you should think about doing this as a profession." So her and Claire, my drama teacher, both kind of really encouraged me to audition for drama school.
Inside of You is brought to you by Neurohacker, Qualia Senolytic. If you guys haven't tried this, I know, you hear about these things and it's an ad, but this is something I started taking, and they weren't an advertiser. They weren't a sponsor. And I noticed a difference in my clarity, and I just really want people to listen and give it a shot. Give this a shot, because this is pretty incredible. Your life goals in your career and beyond require productivity, but let's be honest, the aging process is not our friend when it comes to endless energy and productivity, and that's why a lot of people like me use Qualia Senolytic. If someone would have told me that there are science-backed ingredients that could have helped me feel 15 years younger in a matter of months, I wouldn't have believed it. And then I tried Qualia Senolytic.
As we age, everyone accumulates senescent cells in their body.
Senescent cells may cause symptoms of aging, such as aches and pains. I know I get those. Slow workout recovery, sluggish mental and physical energy associated with that middle-age feeling.
Also known as zombie cells, they are old and worn out and not serving a useful function for our health anymore, but they could be taking up space and nutrients from our healthy cells.
Much like pruning the yellowing and dead leaves off a plant. Perfect analogy. Qualia Senolytic helps remove those worn-out senescent cells to allow for the rest of them to thrive in the body. And you know what? You just take it 2 days a month. You don't have to take these pills every day. 2 days a month. That's it. And the formula is non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free. The ingredients are meant to complement one another, factoring the combined effect of all ingredients together. It has a 100-day money-back guarantee. This is really a great product, and I urge you to take advantage of it. I've had higher energy levels. I definitely feel younger. I have more clarity, less aches and pains. It just does wonders.
Help resist aging at the cellular level. Try Qualia Senolytic. Go to neurohacker.com/inside for up to $100 off and use code INSIDE at checkout for an additional 15% off.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The products and statements are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. That's neurohacker.com/inside for an extra 15% off your purchase. Thanks to Neurohacker for sponsoring today's video. Inside of You is brought to you by Wondery, even the Royals. Being a king or queen might seem enticing, but more often than not, it comes at the expense of everything else, like your freedom, your privacy, and sometimes even your head. The creators of Wondery's Even the Rich are bringing you a brand new podcast called Even the Royals, where hosts Brooke and Arisha pull back the curtain on royal families, past and present, from all over the world, to show you the darker side of what it really means to be royalty. From stories about one of the most infamous royals in history, Marie Antoinette, but everything you know about her is wrong. After she became queen at just 19 years old, she ended up in a battle with the French press that started a series of impossible-to-believe events. It's history's greatest smear campaign, and it had deadly consequences. Or what might be the worst royal marriage of all time, between King George IV and Caroline of Brunswick. It's a story involving catfishing, fake pregnancies, and it all leads to a divorce trial where the whole world sat on the edge of their seats to see how it would all play out. Follow Even the Royals on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge Even the Royals ad-free right now on Wondery Plus. If they would have said, if they hadn't said that,
Yeah.
do you think you still would have?
Oh, God, good question. I don't know. I know there was a girl in the play that I was doing the play with who played Barbara Allen. And she had loved drama her entire life, and she was always going to be an actress. And she said to me, I'm going to go and audition for this thing called National Youth Theatre, which is like a summer course, a residential course in London. And do you want to come to the audition? So I was like, that sounds fun. And by this point, the bug had really bitten me. And I was like, okay, I'll give that a go. And I went to audition for this thing, and I got a place, which was like, really good going, basically, at that stage in my very early career. And I went down to London that summer for like 3 weeks and just met loads of people, all who wanted to do the same thing, all like-minded. I just had the best time.
You became a thespian.
I became a thespian.
You
exactly.
were a thespian.
And, from that, loads of these people were either already at drama school or were auditioning for drama school the next year. And that was the thing that really spurred me on. I said, right, that's what I'm going to do, and audition for it. And then Claire Pender spoke to my parents and said, I really think, you should encourage Tom and to go and do this, because I think he's got a real chance. And they did. They paid for me my train fare to get to all these little auditions around the country.
Did you book any?
And I got in. I got into the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama in Glasgow. And that's where it all, I did 3 years there, and then it kind of like seamlessly segued into starting to work. And it was really weird. Once I'd sort of decided I wanted to be an actor, and lots of actors will hate me for this, it was kind of seamless.
I'm going to agree with you with me. It really was.
Yeah.
It was, I finally found something that people responded and liked what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it felt good. This instant gratification, immediate. I felt like I'm doing something right for the first time in my life. Not being me is the way to go. And it just kept going from there. And I felt it probably my senior year in college when I was doing a lot of theater. I felt it. And I remember telling Alexis Combs, or sitting on her doorstep, and she goes, "Are you nervous about going to New York? Blah, blah." And I said, "I want you to remember this conversation. I'm going to make it." And I know you're thinking, oh, everybody says that. Oh, another, I'm going to make it this. I go, no. Just watch. I just see it. I see it.
Yeah.
I could feel it. There was a certain energy that I had that I didn't care about the statistics of who makes it and who doesn't. Yeah. I wish I had that now, but it was just I was so determined, but so confident in whatever ability I had at the time. And it was crazy. And did you feel that a little too?
I did. Yeah, no, I did. And it's a strange kind of, it's almost like having a faith. It's almost like being really kind of religious about whatever religion you're into, but like
Baptist.
Having that comfort, having that kind of like overwhelming feeling that everything's going to be all right with the decision that you've made.
It's rare.
It is rare, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it was, but I do know that I always had that feeling. And even when I started acting, I always had this feeling that I was going to work. And it's a weird coming from the country that I come from, because people will probably accuse you of being arrogant for saying something like that. But it wasn't about arrogance. It was about self-belief and confidence.
Self-belief.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if you are going to go into this ridiculously competitive industry, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that what you have is unique and what you can offer is different to everybody else. And it doesn't make you right or wrong or better or worse, but it's unique. And that's the thing that you have to really kind of hold on to. It's the hardest thing to hold on to when you're being rejected constantly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're not going to back you, then no one else is.
Were you one of those actors, or are you, in the beginning where you're like, I just love acting, I want to do theater, I don't care about, because there was a lot of, I don't want to do TV or movies? Or were you sort of like, because I was always like, I want to be in the movies, I love theater, I did theater. And then I was like, wow, TV's kind of fun. Movies are fun. And I never went back to the theater.
Yeah.
Because it's tedious. It's really like, you do 8 shows a week. And for me, it'd be my nerves on edge all day, every day. And I just don't think, that's how much I put into it and how much I thought about it all the time. But were you someone who wanted to just act, whatever it was?
I mean, certainly my early experiences were only on stage, and like going into drama school, it was just about that. It was about doing theatre, different types of theatre, but like theatre. And then towards the end of the course, you'd get the odd person that would come in and you'd do a day's workshop talking about working in front of camera and stuff. And it's so ridiculous looking back at it, because the reality is, if you go to drama school, when you come out of drama school, probably about at least 75% of your work is going to be on screen. And I hadn't really thought about that side of it. I know that I loved theatre, but I was really open to all of it. I remember someone coming into drama school to just talk to us as final year students and saying, your first couple of years out of here, take whatever comes in your direction. Don't be picky, don't be this, don't be that. Just
Good
take
advice.
what comes. And it's exactly what I did. And I learned, that I enjoy, working on camera. I enjoy being on set. And I still love going to the theatre, and I still love being part of a play. And as the years have gone on, I've done probably 3 professional plays in nearly 25 years.
Wow.
And the rest of it has been camera work. And that's not necessarily by choice, because one thing I do know is that I will always go back to the theatre. I'm at a stage now where I'm like plotting when that's going to happen next. But for me as an actor, I kind of feel like theatre is like rehab for acting when you've done a lot of work on set and on screen. Things like the rehearsal room and that space for like 4 weeks, it feels like a gift these days, because you have 0 rehearsal time when certainly when you're doing a TV show. You rehearse on the day, and then for like 20 minutes, and then you show it to a crew, and it's like, this is how we're doing it. And you have to have made a lot of choices and decisions and things before you even got there. Whereas that exploratory sort of, going into the rehearsal room, finding things, trying things out, building it all from the ground up, and then presenting it, and then having the immediate audience, gratification. If you're in a comedy, getting a laugh is like the biggest thing in the world. And I love that side of it, absolutely. But then I remember the grind. I remember like doing the 8 shows a week, and you're in a theatre production, you're like, Jesus, how long have we got left? Another 6 weeks of this. How am I going to do that?
Thing, day in, day out.
So like every actor, never pleased, never happy, never fully satisfied.
Yeah.
But I love all of it, and I'm glad that I started in the theatre.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody you worked with or went to school with, have they had success?
Oh, sure. I mean, my best friend at drama, or I had sort of a circle of very tight friends at drama school, but one of them was James McAvoy.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you've heard of him. But he's
yes, I've heard of James McAvoy.
And we're still, really good mates. We don't see each other as much as we used to, because, we live on different sides of the world.
But you acted with him on stage.
Oh, yeah. I did my first ever professional gig with James, which was a pantomime, in Kirkcaldy, in Fife, in Scotland. It was our final year of drama school, and the drama school were doing a pantomime, because that's a big thing in the UK. But they said to any final year students, if you want to audition for any professional pantos, you're allowed to do that. So James and I both auditioned for this panto, Beauty and the Beast, and we both got it. And it
was a musical.
It was musical. Pantos have always got music in them.
Yeah, pantos. I didn't know
that. And they've always got like they've always got like stock characters in them. Whatever the story is that year, it's always a fairy tale.
Do you still remember the songs, the music, all that?
If I Were a Bell, which is from I can't remember which musical that's from originally, but that was in R1. I remember my song that I had to do was a house is not a home, a chair is still a chair. Burt Bacharach. House is not a home, is that right? A chair is still a chair, even if there's no one sitting there.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so weird.
Did you always have that like ear for like being on key? Is that something that you're born with? Because I a lot of times I have a band in Sunspin, and I'll say a home is not a home, and Rob will go off key, smile when you're saying a home is not a home. Not in every line. Why are you doing it in an English accent? A home is not a home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have to work at it, and I have to really learn. I don't have that ear. I sort of do, but
well, I wouldn't say I've got perfect pitch by any stretch of the imagination, but my mum was a music teacher.
Oh, there you go.
And so we all in my family, music was around us all the time, and we were, for want of a better word, lumbered with instruments that our parents chose for us as we were growing up. So I started on the cornet when I was 5 years old.
The cornet,
which is a small trumpet.
Yep.
And then moved up to the trumpet when my hands got a bit bigger. And then, then this is giving insight into my parents. They made an executive decision on my behalf when I was 9 years old that I should change from the trumpet to the French horn because it would give me more opportunities in life.
Oh my God. That's how your parents. Oh my God. That's brilliant.
So
we believe the French horn is going to get you more work. Are you fucking crazy?
So yeah.
So you did that. You played the French horn.
So I played the French horn.
You play guitar too, by the way?
Yeah, I sort of a self-taught guitarist, so I don't know the guitar in and out. If I go back and my parents gave me a choice about instruments, knowing what I know now,
Guitar.
I would have said guitar and piano. Stick me on those, and the rest will take care of itself. Because I'm always envious of anyone that can sit at a piano and just start.
I know. I'd like to learn, but I think it's too late now, isn't it?
I mean,
to be a pianist. I just wanted to say that word. It's too late to be a pianist. It's ridiculous.
It's too late to be a pianist.
It's too late. Who sings that song, actually?
It's too late to compromise.
Too late.
Who is it?
One Republic.
One Republic.
Nice, Ryan. Nice, Ryan, without a microphone.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. You really outdid yourself.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Not projecting.
Good. He's projecting.
He's got no microphone because he's Private Ryan.
Yes, he's Private Ryan.
There we go.
We should save him from the rest of this conversation. Saving Private Ryan. What an idiot. I like stupid jokes. I like dad jokes.
I love dad jokes.
What's your favorite dad joke?
Two fish in a tank. One says to the other, so how do you drive this thing?
That's good.
Yeah. Or my daughter, my youngest daughter, Marnie, has all got an incredible sense of humour. She came back from a school camp the other week. I've got to say this because it just made me laugh so much. She came back from a school camp the other week and she said, Dad, I told that joke you told me years ago and the teachers loved it. And I was like, what was the joke? And she went, what's the difference between a Range Rover and a hedgehog? With a hedgehog, the pricks are on the outside. I was like, you told that to your teachers.
Oh my God, that's
and she was like, yeah, they loved it. Oh, I'm so proud of her.
The pricks are on the outside. It's so true. No, if you're driving a Range Rover.
Yes, no.
We got to get into Lucifer a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, what a huge success and like a huge fan base. Like I remember watching that it was Netflix when Netflix took over. First of all, how rare is it for a show where Fox said they didn't want to go on, and yet they found a home at Netflix? That just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Usually a show's over, it's over. We'll take the 5 seasons and we'll air those. Yeah. And they wanted another season out of it, right?
Well, by that point, we'd done 3 seasons.
Just 3?
Yeah, and the first season was like what they call like a half season. So it was 13 episodes, and then we did 2 of the full, 22 episode biggies, and then they cancelled it.
How did you feel, by the way, when that happened?
Oh, I was gutted. I was at a fan convention in Rome, having the time of my life, and like having, I'd spent a whole weekend of people just confessing their love for the show and like talking about the show and blah blah blah. And it was, I was thousands of miles from where we'd filmed this thing, thinking, my goodness, isn't it strange that we've got this fan base that's growing and growing and growing and growing. And then literally I was in the minibus on the way back from the convention to the hotel we were staying at, and I got a call from our showrunner saying that Fox had just cancelled the show. And I was crushed. I was thrown. I didn't expect it to happen. And I was pretty devastated. I'm not going to lie.
Did you have to do a Q&A after that?
No, I'd just done my last day.
Thank God.
I know.
How are you going to keep a straight face? Like, yeah, I hope it goes forever too.
I know. Well, the whole weekend had been about people going, when are we going to hear about season 4? When are we going to hear about season 4? And I was like, very soon, don't worry. And then I got the call and it was like, oh my God.
But how long after did you get the call saying, hey, they're trying to get this going?
Well, here's the weird thing. So I traveled back to London from Rome, and I was just, gutted, and I was talking to people on the phone and whatever. And then I found out that was on like the Monday or Tuesday, and I found out that Fox still hadn't announced that they were going to cancel it yet. So we knew, but no one else knew. And then someone tipped me off. I'm not going to say who, but someone tipped me off that Fox had planned to kind of bury the news of the cancellation by announcing something else at the same time that following weekend.
Oh, or their new show replacing Lucifer.
Yeah.
And anyway,
all of that. And I was, I had a lot of emotion going on, a lot of these things, and I decided that I would take it upon myself to tweet that I had found out the show had been cancelled, and I was absolutely gutted, and I'm sorry to everyone. And I did
Good move.
I did that before Fox
the announcement.
Before the announcement.
Were they pissed?
I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, at the time...
They fired you.
Do you know what? I pressed send on that tweet, and then I had a panic attack because I thought, oh my God, I've just ruined everything and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Inside of You is brought to you by Discover. If you like using debit over credit, don't you think it's time you also get rewarded? Well, now you can with Discover Cashback Debit. It's a checking account that rewards everyone with cash back on everyday purchases. Plus, there are no fees, period. We're talking date nights, thrifting the latest trends, nights out with your friends, and it's now earning you cash back with Discover Cashback Debit. Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC. Does your beloved pooch have a not-so-secret problem? Bad doggy breath? Not to worry. Introducing my very own Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. Just a splash in your dog's water bowl, and Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath works its magic, neutralizing bad breath, reducing tartar, and promoting better dental health. Vet approved, made with natural ingredients, and works to solve what causes bad breath in dogs. Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath, because every tail-wagging moment should be fresh and enjoyable. Get yours today on Amazon.
And I left my phone and I went into my room and I was just like, what have I done? Blah, blah, blah. And then I got my shit together, and about an hour and a half later, I went back to my phone and I looked at it, and it had absolutely blown up. But it had blown up in the most positive way possible. And this kind of, I've said it before, there's like tsunami of love just came from around the world, from all these people. Going,
Hundreds of thousands.
It was crazy. And it didn't stop. That was the thing about it. It just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And eventually I got a call later that weekend from a guy called Peter Roth, who was head of Warner Brothers TV, who Warner Brothers was our studio and they made it for Fox. And he said, Tom, I want you to know we're not ignoring all this kind of, all this stuff that's happening on social media. We are going to try and do something about it. And so I said, what do you need me to do? And he said, can you get over here to LA? Just to keep it kind of, keep stoking the fire, as it was. So I got on, I got myself to Heathrow Airport, and then I got to Heathrow Airport. I had a message from BBC Newsnight. Now, if anyone knows,
that's big.
The UK, there's the news, and then BBC Newsnight is a nightly show that discusses the news in a very, very kind of like intellectual, articulate way.
60 minutes.
Yeah, basically. And they said that they had noticed that they had been, noticing what was happening on social media and blah, blah, blah about the show. Did I want to appear as a guest on the show to talk about that and to talk about television changing and all these things? And I was like, absolutely. So I got to LA, and then I ended up doing like a studio bit back to London about this. And for the next kind of week and a half, 2 weeks, it just like this became like all I talked about and all people were asking me about. And then, a couple of weeks later, I'd sort of been tipped off from Peter that things were progressing well. And then we got the Netflix announcement, and it was the most vindicating, wonderful experience. And I didn't feel quite so bad about pressing send on that tweet.
You single-handedly did that. You single-handedly brought back the show.
I mean, the crazy thing is that I already knew from like 3 years of doing press for the show that it really kind of started to spread. that people were loving this show, and not just in the States, but like everywhere I was going to. And weirdly, now when I look back at it, lots of Catholic countries, all the countries around the world that are Catholic are really into the show. Don't know why, but there we go.
Right.
Well,
they're fascinated by that kind
they
of stuff.
are. Yeah, they're fascinated by
are.
that character, and what their perception of the devil is, and what ours was. But it was when I heard it had been cancelled, I thought, oh, there's a lot of people who aren't going to be very happy about this. What I didn't realise that there was millions of people that were not happy about it and wouldn't let it go. And it was, I use the word vindicating again, but it really was kind of like, I wanted to think, I'm not going crazy. Like, I'm doing all this press around the world for the first few years. I've been involved in things before, and I know when something's popular, and this felt incredibly popular, but it didn't feel like Fox ever recognised that. For whatever reason, I don't know. But it was popular. And then it just grew and grew. Once it went on Netflix, it just exploded.
Were you the one who told the rest of the cast, or they already knew?
So people have been calling me saying, do you know what's going on? Do you know what's going on? And I said,
Amy.
Yeah, Amy. I just tell Amy, then she'd tell everyone else.
Yeah.
I was basically like, look, Warner Brothers are trying to find a new home for it. That's what I know. And as soon as I know anything else, I'll let you know. But until then, just keep
plugging away.
Keep plugging away, keep responding on Twitter, keep telling people to keep the faith, as it were. We're not going down, we're not going to just lie down and take it, sort of thing.
That's beautiful. It just never happens.
Yeah, and again, I've been told by Peter Roth and other people, this never happens. This never happens. This never happens. But that weird sort of feeling that you were talking about before about your career, and that same thing that I'd had this kind of niggle that something was going to happen about it, and it did.
I'll bring this back to me. I had a show that got canceled in 2 seasons, and the ratings, if they were now, it would have been a big show. Mm-hmm. Like, the ratings were pretty good. They were decent. They weren't, but now if we had those ratings, that show would get 5-6 seasons, and we just got 2. But I remember, the head called me, and he was awesome. Loved Keith Cox. And Keith was like, hey, we're going more female centric, and we're not going to do the show anymore. So I was like, okay. And then I called the other producer and the creator, and the producer's like, can we find another home for it? Mm-hmm. I don't know. No one can. It just went away. And by the way, I didn't get millions of people going, oh my God, it was like, 300 people saying, hey, really, that sucks. I like that shit, But even then I had some hope going, hey, this was a pretty fun show, maybe. But the fact that the response, so as much as we could sit there and say, I hate social media, I hate, we all do it, we're hypocrites and we do it, yet there's so many bad facets of social media, but there are good facets, there are good parts to it. And, this, without social media, this wouldn't have happened.
Oh no, without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm the same as you. Like, I have hugely mixed feelings about social media. Me too, yeah. And I again, the more you're in the spotlight, the less you want to use it, is my feeling about it. Like, I want to be private and protect things privately. And I feel like going on social media, you're just leaving yourself open to anything. Yeah. But at the same time, I wouldn't be here probably talking to you about this thing right now if it hadn't been for social media. There are huge positives to it.
Yeah.
But, I remember watching an interview with David Bowie back in 97, I think it was, and on BBC Newsnight, and he was talking about the internet, and he was talking about what an incredibly amazing thing it can be, but also at the same time, what a window of darkness it will open as well.
Absolutely.
And that's, I'd say the same thing about social media.
Yep. Would you do a Lucifer revival if they said, let's do a movie? We want to do a movie, a 2-hour movie, or one final thing. Is it something you would strongly consider, or you think, hey, let's put this to rest?
I certainly feel like on the TV front, we've like I said before, we covered all bases. I think that the only thing that would make me go back would be if it were a movie, and it would have to be good. That it's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. It would have to be, we'd have to sign off on like what the script was and all those things, because I feel like one of the things one of the weird things, certainly about working over here, is there's so much, like when you're somebody successful, people just want more. Whereas where I'm from, leave them wanting more is the motto. And it was never such a sort of financially, commercially based industry back in the UK.
Yeah.
So you don't, Miranda, for example, we only ever did 20 episodes in total. And it's still iconic, and it still has an afterlife that people revisit. But the reason we only did that many is because Miranda didn't want to do anymore. And she didn't want to write it anymore because it took so much out. But she wrote all the episodes of it, and she felt like she'd done it. And, to beat it around the head and dilute it as a product just for the sake of making more and more and more and more, she didn't want to do that. And I had so much respect for her for making that decision, because the BBC were desperate for it.
Wow.
And I strongly believe that. Leave them wanting more.
Yeah, it's important. When Netflix bought Lucifer, was it sort of like, hey, if you guys want this to go for another 3 seasons, they're going to pay what you guys are making, but they're not going to give any advances, or were those things still worked out?
So
because if I were them, they want the show back. We're just not paying them anymore. This is
that's what happened.
I figured that's what happened.
We, without getting into it too much, I stayed on the same contract for the whole time.
Yeah.
Which, you
weren't happy about it.
I wasn't happy about it. And there's the reason that this strike and everything has happened, and all of those things, is to address the situation that I found myself in at the end of Lucifer. And I'm not complaining about it, but I am glad that we are now, as a union, doing something about those situations never happening again.
Yeah.
Because I think people assume that because it's so successful now on Netflix, people assume that I am rich beyond my wildest dreams, which I am not. It's one of those things. But I'm glad, one of the great things about being over here as an actor is that the union is incredibly strong. And the steps that they've been going through recently is really, really important. And unfortunately for me, I would say it's something that would never happen back home, because the union isn't strong enough. And one of the things I think universally in this industry is we are always made to feel how lucky we are to be working. Mm-hmm. And I think the payers sort of use that to their advantage.
You're an actor.
Yeah.
You're a working actor.
Yeah, you're a working actor. You should be, lucky. And it's like, I agree with you, but at a certain point, it's also my career and my, this is how I support my family.
My livelihood.
And my livelihood. Yeah. So, I need it to be treated that way as well, not just to kind of like, look how lucky you are. Because I feel incredibly lucky that this is all happening for me.
Yeah.
But I also, that's the chance I took. That's the chance I took when I started my career. And, like anything in life, in success, you would like to be rewarded.
Well, I always say, if you're an integral part of something that becomes successful, and you're an integral part of that, you absolutely deserve to be paid, compensated. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why there's always, we're not making it. There's always a reason. There's always a reason. And we don't have to get into that, but it's.
Certainly as an artist, as a creative as well, I feel like that is just, your work outlives you. But to just be paid to do the work then, and then everyone else sort of like sees that work and, people start to gravitate towards it. There needs to be some kind of like equitable way of working it out.
Yeah. It can't be just like, well, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's getting. It's getting a lot of views. We can't, how do we differentiate?
I think they do know.
They know.
I think that's the thing. It's just like they worked on a business model that all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, I think over time, that business model has created what it's created. And now people have gone, well, the language that we're using is not relevant to this business model. But the job that we're doing is exactly the same. Yeah. So we need to catch up, and
what's next? Anything that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, I shot something last year called Washington Black for Hulu, which was an adaptation of a wonderful novel of the same name, and it's a big, extravagant costume drama set at the time of towards the end of slavery in the British Empire. It's a 9-part limited series.
Wow.
With Sterling K. Brown.
Wow.
And a whole host of other wonderful people. Charles Dance played my dad in it, which was incredible experience. And I'm really I've not seen a frame of it yet.
Not a frame?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Have you heard he's really great in it?
A couple of people have told me that I know at Hulu, which is lovely. But as an actor, you're like, whatever.
Yeah. Everybody will say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's watch. I'm sure it's great.
But I'm really looking forward to that coming out. And then my wife and I are working together on a couple of projects. And that is basically something that I'm really looking forward to doing, because we worked together once before. I had a great experience. She's an incredible writer.
Right.
And, I'm at a point in my life where spinning lots of plates about family and geography and things like that, to be able to, take that out of the equation on projects and still deliver something that's really good.
Yeah.
Feels like a huge sort of benefit. So, yeah.
Is it Megan or Megan?
Megan.
Megan.
Like Reagan. I say it wrong all the time. My kids say it wrong all the time. Megan, like Reagan. Megan. Meaghan.
And, I mean, you get this a million, but it really is Oppenheimer?
It is, and she is related too.
How so?
I believe it is her. It will be a cousin, because it's a great uncle's son. So a long distance cousin. There you go.
So what did she think when she saw it?
We haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, for no particular reason. I've heard it's incredible. I just, we are not the best, to be perfectly fair, at getting to
the theater,
the movies, darling.
Maybe I'll screen it here one night.
You should do. I do want to watch it. I still do want to watch it on IMAX, though, because I know you're meant to watch it that way.
did. I watched it on that.
I've got a terrible habit of watching movies that I should have watched on IMAX, but on planes.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I watched Avatar for the first time on the back of in a coach seat, those tiny little monitors.
Hey, lastly, do you do any impressions?
Ooh, do I do any impressions? Actually, I worked on my Charles Dance a little bit when I was working with him. He was in Game of Thrones.
Which one was he?
He's Lannister, the dad Lannister.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah. So Charles,
I'm gonna close my eyes.
So he would be talking a lot of the time, and it felt like he was cleaning stuff from his teeth all the time, Tom. But do you go to the gym, Tom? Are you one of those actors? Yes.
Is that what he does?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He's got this kind of like disapproving snarl all the time. But I thankfully, I got to know him really well. And he's a teddy bear underneath all of it.
Gosh, he was so intimidating. And he died on the shitter.
Oh, he died on the shitter.
Yeah.
Him and Elvis.
Elvis.
Yeah, no, I can't. He is incredibly intimidating. And again, one of those people, when I started working with him, I was like, my inner voice just going, I just want you to think I'm a good actor.
I know. We all want that.
We all
deep down want somebody to go, he was really great.
Yeah.
He was great to work with. You want a few things. You want somebody, you want to be likable. You want to be giving to your fellow actor. You want to, you just, sometimes, like I worked with this guy, Bill Fichtner. You know him?
I don't know that.
You know him if you saw him.
Okay.
He's been in everything. But he wanted to meet me before they cast me in this movie I did like 4 years ago. And I was like, fuck. So the director's like, he wants to have lunch with you. So I went and had lunch with him. And he was just kind of really dry and, and talked to me. And then afterwards, the director said, hey, he thought you were really nice. I was like, I thought he was going to be like, I don't want to work with this guy. And then I worked with him, but I was always like trying to earn his. And I think by the end, even in our first scene together, he goes, it's almost like he sighed. Like he goes, okay, you're good.
Okay.
You're here to play. You're good.
Yeah.
I felt it. I had to prove it.
That is a lovely feeling.
It is.
That is a lovely feeling.
It's a scary feeling.
But it's really scary and, intimidating and all of those things. And I think there's something about the blessing of your peers that is incredibly profound as an actor. I don't know what it is.
I know.
But because we all like to bitch about other people's performances. That's what it is.
God, that sucks.
But just that. Yeah.
This has been a treat. I really thank you for coming in. You're a delightful guest. You're so insightful. I love the stories. I love you're just very open and yeah.
Well, you're very good at this, Mr. Rosenbaum.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I loved him. And I thought he'd be a little bit more shy. I thought he'd be a little more reserved, and he was just freaking cool. Thank you, Tom Ellis, man. I had a blast with you. I don't know if I'll ever hear from you again, but he was great. He came over the house, and I don't know if he did it a favor for Tom Welling, because Tom made the initial introduction.
Yeah.
Most of the time I get my own guests, but a lot of times, like, Kristen Ritter introduced me to Carrie Ann Moss and, Skeet. And so you have friends that help you out, I don't sit there and go, oh, could you, but if they go, oh, I know so-and-so, I go, yeah, sure. Whatever you can do, because you have to entertain. Thank you, Kristen Ritter. A little shout out to Kristen. A little shout out to Tom Wellington. And that's it, man. If you didn't listen to the intro, I don't know what else to tell you. Join Patreon today and support the podcast a little more than just listening, which is awesome. But go to Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you, and support the podcast so we can keep going and give you good episodes, give you good content. Sometimes I was watching this intro, Ryan, to another person's podcast, and I like the person. And then I was like, God, he gets so many, he gets really big numbers in this. And I was like, stop it. Stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to this. And then I started thinking, well, I think I'm a better interviewer than that person. Why are they? And I'm like, stop. This person does their thing. You do your thing. And some people like what you do and people like what that. And I was comparing myself. And I was like, no, you're not going to do that. I stopped myself. I said, good for that person and good for me. The world is lucky.
Was the longest YouTube comment you've ever left? No.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, I like this person.
Good.
And I like their content.
Good.
But sometimes it surprises me that some people get, so many viewers. What are they doing? Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm not funny enough. I'm not personable enough.
You're compelling.
Well,
That's good, right?
I guess so. I don't know. Maybe I'm boring. Am I boring?
What?
Ryan, you fucking asshole.
Oh, boy.
Don't compare yourself ever. But I'm just admitting that I did. So sorry. I won't do it again. All right. Thank you so much. All my love. We're going to give a shout out to the top tier patrons now who we love and adore. And without them, we couldn't do this podcast. And here they are. The first reading of the year. Make sure you join. Nancy D, Leah and Kristen, Little Lisa, Yukiko. How would you sing Yukiko as a song? Yukiko, where you want. You can go where you like, Yukiko.
It's like a Guns N' Roses B-side. Is that what that is?
Like Yukiko, but Yukiko, you can go.
You can go.
You can go where you want to. You can go where you like. All right, sorry. Jill E. Brian Hinnenkamp. You gotta go to 80s concert, man. Nico P. I hope Zachary's doing all right. Robert B. Jason W. Sophie M. Raj C. Jennifer N. Stacy L. Jamal F. Janelle B. Mike E. L. Don Supremo 99 more. Santiago M. Leanne P. Ryan, you want to read a couple?
Sure. Maddie S., Belinda N., Dave H.
Wait.
Dave H.
Dave H. Hello, Michael.
Sorry, Dave H.
Dave, I hope you had a nice New Year, Dave.
And
really enjoyed you. Hopefully, wait, I'm not doing it really well. Hold on, Dave. Oh, I hope you had a good New Year, Dave. It's been really nice, Michael. It's terrible. I'm sorry, but Dave, you're awesome. Go ahead.
Sheila G, Brad D, Ray H, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Corey K, Dev Nexon, Michelle A, Jeremy C, Brandy D, Eugene and Leah, Corey Mel S, Christine S, Eric H, and Shane R.
Christine S, Mel S, Eric H, Shane R. That's right. Andrew M, Amanda R, Kevin E, Stephanie K, Jor-El, Jammin J, Leanne J, Luna R, Mike F, Stone H, Brian L, Jules M, Kendall L, Jessica B, Kyle F, Marisol P, Marisol, Kaylee J, Brian A, Marion Louise L, Romeo the Band, Frank B, Jen T, Nikki L, April R, Randy S, JDW, Oral P, Oral B, toothbrushes, Rachel D, Melissa H, Nick W, Stephanie and Evan, Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B, John, Jennifer R, Tina E, NG Tracy, Junie. Do we have less top tier patrons? Does it seem a little less?
I don't know.
I'm going to count them right now. 1, 2. No, I'm not going to count them. But hey, thank you guys for supporting the podcast. It is awesome. It is really awesome that you do that and you continue to do so. Some of these people have been here for years supporting this podcast, and I guess they see something in it for them that helps, or they appreciate it. I guess that's, and I appreciate them. But to be a patron, to give a certain amount of money every month to something like a subscription to like a Hulu or whatever, to do that for a podcast, something's got to be going right. Maybe it's they feel a family, sort of a connection. They like the content. What do you think it is, Ryan?
Probably all of the above.
Could be all the above.
I don't have a specific answer. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Guys, thank you for listening to the podcast today. Thank you for allowing me to be inside of you. I hope you join us every week. Hopefully you enjoyed Time Ellis. I enjoyed Ryan right here. And all my love to you from the Hollywood Hills and Hollywood, California. I am Michael Rosenbaum.
I am Ryan Tejas. I'm here too.
Wave to the camera. You're here too, right?
I'm here too.
Kind of. That was so like, just like, I'm here too.
I'm half here. My brain went somewhere else.
Yeah,
It's
your
not
brain
going to
went
go.
somewhere
My
else.
bad.
It's the new year, guys. All right. Be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. Let's do it right. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen that you're upset with yourself about. You're not keeping to your resolution, to your list, just try to do the best you can and try to be healthy. And that's all I can tell you. All right. We'll see you next week. I hope you're here. And goodbye, Ryan. Goodbye.
Bye.